In May 2026, NASA officially stunned the world by shifting billions of dollars toward an ultimate space-based framework. This action proves we are transforming our celestial neighbors, forcing your body to face a brutal mechanical blueprint titled Moon to Mars. Before setting foot on red sand, humanity is transforming our frozen lunar companion into a macro-scale laboratory to test structural settlements. This is the core foundation of modern space theory, exposed in this space documentary. Are you truly ready to trade your home planet's atmosphere to enter a scorching tomb of sand, where death is always just one single breath away? The year 2026 marks a definitive pivot in the grand design of our cosmic expansion. In this crucial period, a monumental policy realignment reshaped the future of humanity. The premier space agency officially enacted a historic structural redirection, severing the financial lifelines of automated robotic sample return missions that had dominated the drawing boards for a generation. Instead of dedicating priceless assets to reclaiming isolated jars of alien dirt, the leadership decided to funnel these massive multi-billion-dollar resource streams straight into human settlement logistics. This profound alteration of capital means that every single dollar is now weaponized to pave a direct pathway for living, breathing pioneers to conquer the void. Through this aggressive budget rearrangement, NASA has established a relentless agenda that refuses to look backward. This strategic evolution represents a direct commitment to active survival, shifting our focus from passive observation to the physical realization of permanent outposts beyond our home sky. The central pillar of this modern era of space exploration is a rigorous, dual-phase blueprint officially designated as the Moon to Mars framework. This long-term master plan does not rely on a direct, reckless leap to the red sands, but establishes a strict, mechanical progression of infrastructure. Under this design, our closest celestial satellite is being actively transformed into a macro-scale laboratory. This gray world serves as a brutal testing ground where engineers must master the deployment of structural habitats and the continuous operation of automated oxygen extraction machinery. Every environmental variable on this barren sphere is an unforgiving test of mechanical endurance, designed to validate vital life support arrays before logistics teams attempt to haul them across the deep, unyielding void. If a machine fractures under the stresses of the lunar night, it can be studied and re-engineered. If it fails on the destination planet, the consequence is absolute finality. This calculated operational strategy exposes a profound psychological truth regarding our near future. Your biological body is about to be cast into an absolute isolation cell where no rescue or error correction exists. You must look at this strategy not as textbook science, but as learning how to stand perfectly balanced on a razor-sharp piece of broken glass before throwing yourself into a violent cosmic earthquake. The physical and emotional weight of this journey will challenge the core foundations of human consciousness. Would your mind remain intact under a terrifying absolute silence when you look out the port window and see your blue home planet reduced to a fading dot on the edge of the dark? The mechanical and architectural configurations required to survive these severe environments demand a complete rewrite of traditional engineering rules. Every mechanical gear must rotate without a single flaw. Yet, shifting these massive walls of capital is merely the opening gunshot, because the true equation lies in what you will actually use to build your home on a dead world. The architectural reality of planetary survival requires a complete departure from terrestrial construction methods. To build a secure outpost on a distant world, engineers cannot rely on the logistical madness of transporting heavy earthen bricks or concrete components across the deep void. Instead, modern space logistics focuses entirely on utilizing raw material that already exists on the destination surface. The premier manifestation of this engineering philosophy is found in the empirical structure of Mars Dune Alpha. Within this specialized ground testing facility, a massive robotic printing system operates autonomously to harvest the native dark regolith covering the desert floor. By taking this local volcanic soil and mixing it mechanically with specialized liquid polymer binders, The automated system extrudes a dense, unyielding paste layer by layer. This automated additive manufacturing technique transforms loose, dangerous dust into robust, interlocking walls that possess incredible structural density, setting a new paradigm for long-duration shelters. This advanced construction technology solves a critical survival equation within our solar system. The primary hazard threatening any long-term outpost is the constant, invisible bombardment of cosmic radiation and high-energy particles that continuously blast the unprotected planetary surface. Earth possesses a thick atmospheric shield and a protective magnetic field to neutralize these threats, but other worlds leave you completely exposed. To counteract this deadly environment, the extruded basaltic mixture forms an exceptionally dense barrier capable of absorbing and dispersing these dangerous energy waves. Your future home is quite literally molded from the ashes of a world that died long ago. These thick printed layers function as a massive cage holding your life inside, acting as a tiny wrinkle on a gigantic map fighting against the crushing, freezing void outside. Within these robotic parameters, the physical layout is optimized to provide maximum shielding thickness over the primary living quarters and crew workstations. As deep space exploration transitions from temporary robotic surveys to permanent human habitats, these automated fabrications represent the most vital new discoveries in materials, science, and structural engineering. The strength of these printed barriers is tested extensively against artificial impacts and thermal stress cycles to guarantee that the internal pressure hull remains completely intact. This rigorous structural engineering shifts our understanding of shelter from a temporary capsule to an endogenous geological feature. Yet, the psychological weight of residing within an engineered geological formation remains a profound challenge for the human mind. Would you willingly entrust your sleep to structural walls, engineered entirely from the toxic dust of an alien wilderness? The answer to this question depends on the absolute reliability of the automated binding agents and the structural integrity of every printed seam. Every single deposited composite line must fuse perfectly with the layer beneath it to prevent catastrophic structural decompression under the influence of extreme environmental stress and volatile atmospheric changes. However, an unyielding structural frame will rapidly turn into a freezing coffin if you cannot find a persistent mechanical way to spark heat through the sub-zero night. The physical preservation of an extraterrestrial outpost requires a complete rejection of terrestrial weather dependency. When establishing a permanent foothold on an alien surface, the most devastating environmental adversary is not the sub-zero cold alone, but the relentless onset of planet-wide dust storms. These colossal atmospheric disturbances lift fine particles high into the thin air, creating a dense, opaque shroud that blots out the sun for consecutive weeks. For any expedition relying on standard photovoltaic technology, this meteorological anomaly represents a catastrophic failure mode, completely neutralizing the utility of standard solar arrays and leaving a base entirely in the dark. To survive this hostile blackout, a modern science documentary must look beyond atmospheric limitations to find a steady, unyielding source of energy that protects the fragile human crew from freezing to death in the silent wilderness. The verified empirical solution engineered by planetary scientists relies on the deployment of a synchronized network of modular, compact nuclear fission surface power units, generating a continuous electrical current to sustain internal thermal heating and atmospheric air scrubbers, independent of external weather anomalies. These robust systems operate entirely independent of solar exposure, utilizing the steady, predictable energy released by breaking heavy atomic nuclei apart. By converting this intense thermal energy into a continuous electrical current, the modern base guarantees a reliable baseline of operational security. This steady flow of baseline wattage is directly funneled into sustaining internal environmental control loops that filter lethal toxic dust out of your immediate breathing supply, protecting your vital organs from the harsh external elements day and night without interruption. This mechanical reality completely alters our primitive relationship with nature and cosmic survival. The heart of this base does not beat to the rhythm of natural daylight. but to the glowing decay of heavy elements deep inside engineered machinery. This vital power crawls through the habitat's conduits like artificial veins, a sudden compression of raw physical force into a single node to maintain a warm reality that is far more radical than the biological death waiting outside. In this isolated haven, your personal survival is bound to the unyielding performance of automated cooling loops and reactor cores. It is a profound demonstration of science explained through sheer engineering willpower, where fragile human safety is maintained by an atomic pulse hidden behind thick radiation shielding. Residing inside this synthetic biosphere forces a deep psychological confrontation with the terrifying fragility of your technological lifelines. When the raging sandstorms swallow all incoming light, what will your consciousness cling to if this atomic engine suddenly emits a mechanical warning of a critical failure? The absolute, deafening silence of the external void offers no answers, leaving your mind to calculate the exact minutes remaining before the internal air temperatures plummet into fatal sub-zero territory. Every microchip and automated electrical circuit breaker becomes a critical guardian of your breath. Once an unyielding stream of electricity floods the crew cabins, human beings must immediately confront a primitive, ancient hunger, the need for organic breath and nutrition. The physical maintenance of long-duration respiration beyond the confines of our home planet introduces a supreme engineering challenge. Within the framework of planetary survival, traditional logistics cannot perpetually supply pressurized air canisters across thousands of miles of empty vacuum. To overcome this limitation, scientists develop a highly advanced closed ecological life support system designed to achieve complete atmospheric self-reliance. This biological system operates as a functional synthetic biosphere, replicating the complex reciprocal relationship between vegetation and breathing organisms. Through this method, an outpost stabilizes its local environment by creating a continuous mechanical cycle of renewal that sustains human metabolism indefinitely. This structural achievement demonstrates that understanding the composition of alien worlds is not just a pursuit of macro-scale studies, but a direct requirement for maintaining human life. The internal core of this regenerative dome relies heavily on highly dense, vertical hydroponic nutrient beds. By stacking multiple layers of vegetation beneath specialized lighting arrays, engineers maximize the productive surface area without expanding the physical footprint of the structural hull. These specialized light frequencies emit specific energy waves optimized exclusively for plant reproduction, bypassing the need for a natural sun. As the human crew goes about their daily routines, the vast vegetation canopies actively absorb the carbon dioxide exhaled by the crew, mechanically converting it back into a pristine, breathable atmosphere within the living quarters. This chemical transformation strips away human waste molecules and purifies the collective air supply, recycling every single breath into a fresh burst of life. This tight loop forces a deep realization of how your physical existence is completely integrated with the hardware of the base. You are drawing oxygen directly from leaves that are actively fed by the chemical waste of your own biological metabolism. This loop is a fierce mechanical game where the boundaries between living tissue and rotten decay are completely blurred to maintain a fragile, engineered paradise. The natural order is replaced by automated valves and nutrient monitors. Will your senses accept green crops grown in a locked vault that has never experienced a single drop of natural rain or a breath of wind since the dawn of creation? The psychological reconciliation of eating fresh green food, born from recycled biological waste, tests the ultimate limits of human endurance. These small survival chambers show how fragile life must adapt when cast out into a cold domain governed by the grand laws of astrophysics. Our continuous efforts to build tiny sanctuaries are small echoes within a vast hostile universe that macro-scale studies explore. In the broader scope of cosmology, the historical rise of an artificial biosphere represents a microscopic shift where conscious human matter learns to manufacture its own pocket of habitable space. Yet, even an abundant supply of fresh oxygen cannot soothe the deep, unsettling psychological paralysis that occurs when you are locked inside a cramped cell for too long. The The mechanical extraction of frozen volatile compounds constitutes the absolute, unyielding bridge between immediate biological survival and cold extinction on a desolate world. Deep inside the thick, reinforced hull modules of the central outpost, the Geological Command Center functions as the primary tactical nerve network for this critical resource search. Here, automated telemetry monitors continuously track and coordinate a distributed fleet of autonomous robotic rovers deployed across the unforgiving, freezing terrain outside. These specialized mechanical explorers carry heavy mechanical drilling units, engineered specifically to penetrate deep into prehistoric structural impact craters and jagged terrain fractures, where vast reservoirs of hidden glacial ice remain securely trapped away from destructive solar radiation. Securing these ancient underground deposits completely transforms our systematic understanding of outer space maneuvers, altering how logistics teams chart long-term survival paths across barren environments. Once the automated drilling equipment successfully pierces the dense top layers of insulating regolith dust, the heavy mechanical claws extract massive frozen blocks directly from the dead crust. These frozen slabs are immediately hauled back to central conversion units, where automated thermal reactors thaw the raw material into liquid form. The resulting water is then pushed through a specialized network of dense, multi-stage filtration membranes to strip away heavy metallic particles and hazardous hyperchlorinated toxins. This advanced purification system delivers ultra-pure drinking water to sustain the human crew while simultaneously isolating pristine oxygen and hydrogen molecules. These refined gases serve as essential rocket propellant precursors, enabling returning spacecraft to refuel locally without depending on shipments from home. This elegant industrial loop represents how the physical reality of the cosmos can be systematically managed, providing a perfect example of a universe explained through the direct application of logical materials, science. This industrial process introduces a jarring, profound confrontation between human biological needs and primordial planetary history. Your thirst will be quenched by ancient ice that has slept undisturbed for millions of years beneath a frozen desert. This subsurface mining is like tearing open the cold skin of an alien world to extract the last drops of liquid milk left behind by natural planetary evolution. The fluid fueling your internal cellular metabolism belongs to an ancient epoch before the first terrestrial civilizations ever appeared on Earth. Does your mind shudder when you realize the fluid passing down your throat was once a solid, fossilized block from the very dawn of our stellar neighborhood? The continuous daily act of physically consuming this celestial resource forever links your internal biology to the ancient, frozen geology of an alien world, completely rewriting the fundamental psychological terms of human existence within the dark cosmos. It forces your consciousness to recognize your terrifying absolute dependency on these synthetic, automated life support systems. When every basic physical asset has been secured, the final and most terrifying equation manifests inside the human mind itself. The psychological preservation of human consciousness constitutes the final frontier of extraterrestrial settlement engineering. Beyond the mechanical equations of oxygen regeneration and radiation shielding, the raw architecture of the human mind remains exceptionally fragile when removed from its native planetary ecosystem. Systematic synthesis of data collected from modern long-duration isolation campaigns reveals that the true threat to an expedition is not merely physical failure, but cognitive decay. Specifically, operational logs prove that a communication latency of up to 20 minutes between the outpost and Earth acts as a silent killer of human mental health. This severe temporal detachment breaks the ancestral real-time feedback loops of social support, plunging individuals into a state of profound existential alienation. When your primary link to home is delayed by a massive electronic gap, the mind begins to experience a slow unraveling of identity. To combat this invisible psychological deterioration, the structural design of the habitation modules must incorporate advanced neurological environmental controls. Your brain will be tested by a unique cage containing no physical bars. The absolute, deafening silence of the external void will continuously knock on the doors of your consciousness, attempting to suffocate your willpower through a total, unyielding isolation. To mitigate this crushing environmental pressure, engineers implement specialized acoustic dampening partitions throughout the living quarters to neutralize the repetitive, mechanical hum of life support hardware. Furthermore, the installation of complex bioadaptive lighting arrays serves to artificially regulate circadian rhythms by mimicking the shifting spectral frequencies of terrestrial daylight. These automated illumination variations are vital for stabilizing hormonal cycles and maintaining cognitive performance within a dark, windowless perimeter. Without these delicate synthetic reminders of earthbound cycles, sleep architectures collapse, leaving the conscious mind vulnerable to acute paranoia and severe behavioral fragmentation. Physical emergencies compound these deep psychological burdens, necessitating the integration of decentralized autonomous healthcare facilities within the settlement structure. Because traditional surgical transport across the vast distances separating celestial environments is entirely impossible, the base relies heavily on automated medical bays driven by sophisticated artificial intelligence systems to treat acute trauma. These specialized medical cells possess robotic surgical instruments capable of performing complex procedures without a human physician present on site. These networks continuously monitor your biometric telemetry, ready to intervene during sudden medical crises. Yet the presence of robotic surgeons cannot alleviate the terrifying reality of complete isolation. Can you maintain absolute sanity, knowing that if you suffer a fatal accident, your scream for help will take nearly half an hour to reach the ears of those who love you back home? The profound vastness of space isolates your vulnerable human thoughts, transforming them into fragile signals that drift past unexplored distant galaxies or vanish into the crushing gravity wells of supermassive black holes. Rising above these Tandoor-dry freezing trials, this habitat ceases to be a mere survival shelter, transforming instead into the supreme seed of a new multiplanetary lineage. When these 3D-printed structures stand unyielding against the planet-wide sandstorms, humanity will have officially shed its old evolutionary skin to become true children of the macro void. You are no longer a passive biological organism waiting for the protective embrace of Mother Earth, but an active force carving out reality itself across the expanding universe. This outpost is a grand statement that our footsteps will never again be contained by one single blue sky. Through advanced columns of empirical science, modern astronomy, and the intricate mechanics of quantum physics, we learn to seed life across a limitless multiverse. We are no longer alone, searching for distant alien life, as SpaceX redefines our ultimate cosmic destiny. Will your descendants, born beneath a crimson sky, even remember the deep blue tint of the oceans we left behind? Share your thoughts below. Thank you for watching this journey through the cosmos. The frontier of exploration is expanding, and together, we are witnessing the dawn of a multiplanetary civilization. If you truly believe in humanity's cosmic future, please subscribe and leave a comment below. I will keep exploring. See you all next time.